Yo guys, what is up? Welcome back to a new video. Today we're going to have a look at Tempest Rising. You remember quite a few months ago, I think it's about 7-ish months ago, we took a look at this game. It's a game in development. In my opinion, it's probably the sole front runner to be one of the new next best RTS games that are like kind of Command and Conquer style. It's like the most advanced and the most like decent looking. The sounds are good. It's so Command and Conquer-esque. And you've got a really good team behind it, including one of the guys we're going to listen to in a second. The reason I'm making this video today is because just 21 hours ago on their Twitch channel, 3D Realms, which is like the company behind it, they also make a load of other games, by the way, in case you want to check them out. But 3D Realms basically did a Twitch stream, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first time we're seeing a multiplayer game, a 1v1. They did do like a beta test or like a demo or something that I can remember playing. I don't know if you can play that anymore, but it's basically just like a single player run through of the first mission. So if you want to check out this full video, I'm going to watch about probably 7 minutes of it or 10 minutes of it. It's on twitch.tv on the 3D Realms. I've just gone on their videos. It's on their latest video. So we're going to do like a kind of reaction to this. I've seen about 2 minutes of it before, but I thought, you know what, we'll just record the whole thing. And we might stop it and stuff like that. Yeah, I've skipped a little bit of this guy talking, but in a minute it's going to actually get into a proper gameplay.
Here's what we have planned for you guys today, because I know you're absolutely amped about this. We have a dev match, and if like I want to say it's from beginning to end a dev match. We have a couple reactions to the game right before, so as we load it up, if you see people reacting to it, it will kick over to actually multiplayer. But I think that this is probably the first time that most people outside of PAX have had an opportunity to catch more than just a glimpse of keep stalling so the guy gets mad. I can 100% do that if you want. That's no problem.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of positive comments I'm seeing about this. Loads online. They've got a big Discord following as well. You can join the Discord channel. They're putting up a lot of the comments. And one thing I've heard him say before is all in the cutscenes and stuff like that. Normally they are like kind of separate to a game, but in this game, all the cutscenes are actually all using the exact same models that are in the game. Don't know how cool that is to you, but at least it's yeah, it's a little bit of info that I remember. We might have to pause it on certain times here because it's showing you like snippets of the game. We are going to see a full game in a second.
Consider me intrigued.
Rock and roll.
RTS.
Tempest Rising? Oh, man. Oh, dude. All these things are hitting hard.
So you just saw there a sign for the GDF. If I'm not mistaken, that's one of the factions. Then one of the other factions is Tempest Dynasty. And the third faction was still a mystery. Remember from the video I did before, it was a mystery. It's going to be something that comes out of the ground, though. It's something growing within the Earth or whatever planet they are meant to be on. But people were guessing, is it kind of like aliens? Is it kind of like a biological life form or something like that? And I think everyone that I saw guessing actually guessed it wrong. So if you actually know by now, or maybe you've heard it from a developer or something like that, or you've got a better guess, let us know in the comments.
Hello, my name is Fred Schreiber. I'm the game director on Tempest Rising. Today we have something very special to show you guys. We're gonna do a one-on-one multiplayer match between me, myself, and Brandon, our lead game designer. I'm gonna play as
the guy he just mentioned, and the guy whose voice we're gonna hear in a second is called Brandon. If I'm not mistaken, again on Twitter, he's got a Twitter channel called Wayward Strategy. He seemed like me for many years, like quite a geeky guy who has like really looked into every single RTS and then written loads of things on his own website about them, like articles about what makes them good and stuff like that. And I think you kind of need someone like that who's done all their research. I'm not saying geeky in a bad way. Someone who's looked into all like what makes RTS games fun and all that kind of stuff, what makes them engaging and what makes good battles and what makes a really good RTS game. And I think because he's like the lead guy behind it, I know this is the lead whatever he just said, but this guy Brandon is like the lead designer or something like that. I think that's probably one of the reasons why this game is looking so good and why it's going to be successful. This guy Brandon. So yeah, take note of that guy.
the Global Defense Forces, and he's going to play as the Tempest Dynasty. The main focus of this match specifically is for me to show you guys a little bit more about base building and resource collecting. How does this mechanic work with the Global Defense Forces, which is slightly different than the other two factions in the game. I asked Brandon to go easy on me, so I have a little bit of time to show you guys a bit.
I mean, as soon as you boot into this game, this is what it looks like, and it just looks really, really cool. I don't know if they've changed the colors and stuff since last time, because part of my feedback last time was that the color palette made the game all look kind of the same, and it was kind of difficult to see the units. So I hope maybe this is just a different map or something. But remember, last time there was loads of this red stuff, which is like kind of the minerals or whatever we're going to be harvesting. A lot of it like it looked kind of bland and like the same color, and it was hard to distinguish your units. So I'm going to be paying attention to that. You can notice that like the user interface and stuff is like kind of small. It's giving you the maximum visibility, you know, in like General Zero, for example, if you haven't got the cool UI little modification that people made, kind of from there where my mouse cursor is now is all like kind of cut off. I think like Company of Heroes and stuff like that. Company of Heroes 3, I believe they made the initial user interface like kind of massive. Here you can see definitely they are trying to keep things minimal on the screen. Like this is tiny over here. This is about as small as it can be before it gets like too small, while still having all your vehicles and stuff you can click on. You've still got your minimap, you've still got your power thing, and you've just got so much visibility. You've literally probably still got about 90 or 95% of the screen. I don't know if this is down here, but we might find out in a second.
A bit more about what base building looks and feels like. I'm also going to show you some cool things up close so you can see what the different units in the game look like, how they feel.
So remember, this is the GDF, which is going to be like probably the core. Is it going to be the core good guys? I don't think they've got good guys and bad guys. I think that they haven't gone along those lines. But that's like what you would consider, I don't know, like the Marines out of StarCraft 2, the Terran faction out of StarCraft 2, or the GDI out of Command & Conquer. I mean, the developers might disagree with that, but that's the way I kind of see it. So he's called a Field Scout. You can see he's got HP there, 120 out of 120. They've still got the unit cap in, and I don't think the unit cap will ever be removed. And I checked back, have they changed the unit cap since last time, and it's still 300 out of 300, which I believe is still kind of big. And I don't know if one unit is counting as one. It looks like it because there's 6 guys there, and there's six there. 5,000, not sure what that is. But yeah, some of the things I noticed so far.
Field to play with and so on. And then we're gonna just battle it out and see who wins.
So actually, yeah, that 5,000 must be how much cash you have. It's got a little red symbol. Is it a red $sign? Maybe it's the minerals.
I'm gonna cut a few places in the video so you don't have to sit here for a full hour and a half and see this match play out. But hopefully it'll be a good in-depth walkthrough of what a match in Tempest Rising.
Don't want to stop the video too much, but you can see he's flying a drone over. Remember, that's one of the upgrades from one of your guys. Don't know if it was engineer or something. Basically, you can get a drone. Seems a little bit crazy overpowered because I'm pretty sure they could still wreck a load of things, but I'm sure they've thought about balance and all that. I'm sure they're well on top of it. You can see over here the hotkeys as well. I'm thinking already, how can we save time on build orders? How can we build as fast as possible? You can see it's like E, R, that's going to be T, isn't it? That's probably going to be Y, and that's going to be U, something like that. So if you have a look on your keyboard, you can already see where your hands are going to be, already thinking about the fastest possible build orders. And then you can see here as well, that's going to be F1, that's going to be F2, F3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, F10, F11. Okay, yeah, so they've got 12 slots. So if they have one more there, then that's all of your F keys. I was just thinking if you have one more building and it goes to like F13, how are you going to do that on most keyboards? I do not know.
Feels like and looks like. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. So I'll stop talking now, and then yeah, let's get started here with a 1v1 against me and Brandon.
New construction options.
So this seems like a pre-recorded video just with his voice over it, and now my voice over it. I'm assuming that's some kind of a power. You can see down here you got like attack, move, stop, guard or something like that. Maybe that's like waypoint. Maybe that's retreat. G.
Hello and welcome. I'm Brandon
This is that Brandon guy I told you on Twitter.
Castile, the lead game designer on Tempest Rising. I'm so excited to be able to bring you our first ever taste of 1v1 gameplay in our game. This match was recorded by Fred and myself for demonstration purposes, and we wanted to be able to show you a lot of different aspects of the gameplay. I truly hope you enjoy this sneak peek into Tempest Rising. Let's get started. Fred and I really wanted the gameplay to speak for itself, but I will be interjecting from time to time with light commentary or some other potential tidbits about the game design or what's going on in the game that you're watching right now. As you can see, we provide players with the option to start out with a small force in the beginning of a multiplayer match, to allow for scouting and other kinetic interactivity while you get started. We don't want things to devolve into a lot of early rush strategies, so what you see here might change a bit before you get your hands on it. But I'm currently happy with this direction. Eager to hear feedback on it.
So yeah, obviously you heard he said it'll be an option to have these infantry there in the beginning. If you remember back to the old Command and Conquers, I believe that was an option too, and you could have either very little units or you could have some units, like Command and Conquer 1, for example. When I was playing the remastered, you got the reminder that you start with like a light tank and a heavy tank or something like that. Here, you start with 6 infantry, and he said it's an option, so I guess that's toggleable. You can either get rid of it altogether, or you can leave it or may become like a standard part of the game. Yeah.
Also, I'm not sure if you noticed this, but this map has a couple of resource crates sprinkled here and there in various nooks and crannies. Another thing we're experimenting with.
These seem pretty cool, man. I like the fact that you can go around and find secrets and stuff like that. It keeps you busy in the beginning of the game, rather than just looking at your refinery building for 30 seconds or whatever it builds for. I find that pretty cool. And maybe you can, I don't know if you can split these guys up as well, or if they're a single unit. You can be waypointing around trying to find as many of those crates as possible. Seems a pretty cool idea to at least be exploring.
As you can see here, as you harvest Tempest, it leaves vines behind. These vines will eventually bear additional fruit, but only if they are not too far away from the living pod. If vines aren't close to a pod, they will die off, which makes the plant take longer to come back. Also, as you leave Tempest alone, it will mature over time, the pods growing and becoming worth more when harvested. This Tempest ecology is very important to us, both in terms of flavor and balancing.
The sound when it's saying construction complete and new construction options, like the effect they've put on it, the voice, the quality of it just sounds amazing. I know that's just like a tiny little detail. And another little thing is when they're moving the infantry around, they come to a stop like with their feet so smooth, and when they move again, they move like so naturally like a human. It's not like unnatural. Just pay attention to the infantry when they stop and when they start moving again. It just feels like so high quality and decent and realistic, I guess.
Construction complete. Unit ready. Constructing. Unit ready. Up we go.
Just watch these infantry, man. When they come to a stop and when they move again.
Drone up. Roger that. Got it. We're off. Unit ready. Spinning her up. Got it. No problem.
And here we see Fred making the approach into the Dynasty base. Sadly for him, I was ready with a Pillager Flame Tank, which, well...
Roger that. Battle control offline. Got it. No problem. Up we go. Ready and waiting. Surveying.
Okay, so he didn't have the vision up there until he actually ran up. So that's like kind of realistic, the field of view or whatever for the units. But then he's using the drone then to scout the top. He clicked some ability up here and then sent the drone.
Unit ready.
He's trying to scout up that hill, but I deny him that. And of course those drones do rebuild themselves after a brief time.
Roger that. You constructing.
So just paying attention, and has he built more infantry there or not? I don't know. But we're up to 13 of 300 population cap. So I would love to see it, what it looks like with the maximum 300. It feels like we're still a way off. You got like what, 200 and something still left.
Required.
He's up to 16 now.
Training.
All right, let's see. It is a tank.
Construction complete. Constructing.
I think it's just a bit laggy here because I'm literally playing the video off Twitch at maximum quality. Music is good. You can select and see your units pretty well with the blue outline, but also it's not like General's Evolution or Red Alert 3 where your whole unit is highlighted green and it's not that nice to look at and kind of ruins the picture. So you can see it, but it's like subtle. It's like the right balance. It's subtle while also actually showing you where your units are. So what's that gate? It's got some kind of cannon there. Looks like an anti-infantry cannon, I'm guessing.
Construction complete.
One of the bits of feedback I had last time was the tank movement. I didn't really like it so much. Let's pay attention to it now and you tell me your thoughts.
Is the Hunter tank. It is a high-tech long...
Do you see how it just kind of moved left there? I don't know, man. Tank movement to me is a little bit weird.
Long-ranged, versatile part of the GDF's offensive force. Fred pushing out, going past our Tempest rigs, doing some harvesting. Little defensive force there as well.
So that must be an engineer there with a yellow hat on. That looks cool. You can see like the way the suspension, the details on these vehicles looks insane, and like the individual rockets firing, the trail of smoke behind the rockets, the lights, and it looks kind of badass at the front of that truck. Has he just captured that though? What's going on here? Dismantle. He's got tanks now. He's on 19 population at the top right. Finale's kind of decent. Is that one taking damage though? Splash damage. Can he run over the trees? Yeah, baby. And he can crush guys. It's just the thing for me still is that tank movement just looks weird and unnatural. Like, why hasn't it got this cool suspension thing? Obviously not exactly like that truck, but why isn't it like rocking back and forth? And why isn't it leaving better tire tracks? And why isn't it moving a bit more like a tank? It just seems to move a little bit unnatural to me. Tell me your thoughts. Maybe it's just me. There is a tire track there, but I mean, this is the beast tank. This is the biggest vehicle we can see on the screen. Like, we need some proper tire track, surely.
All right. Phew. I was able to push Fred back, but not without some losses. Now, Fred is building a satellite uplink, one of the GDF's tech structures. And this is the Sentinel, a fast anti-infantry and anti-air scouting unit with the ability to equip a secondary weapon that marks enemy units. You can see that driving through that Tempest has built up an electrical charge on the Sentinels. I wonder what's up with that.
Our base is under attack.
The individual bullets bouncing off the trucks. That is nice, man. That is nice. Just again, though, the truck movement. I know you've kind of got to make things fast and mobile for enjoyment of gameplay. Just like sometimes the movement doesn't seem natural. That's the only big negative ringing in my ears at the minute. You see them rocking a little bit there. That looks kind of cool. And they are knocking down trees as well. Although sometimes I think they're knocking down a tree even though they haven't actually hit them. Maybe I'm wrong. The harvester thing is cool. Like, it shows you how full it is. With that thing actually part of the vehicle rather than like a separate bar like above it or whatever. And it actually does a proper docking motion. You can see all the vines moving around in there. Data core. That's one of the most advanced buildings. Comms rig just built. Sentinel was one of the things. Advanced power plant is the next thing to build. Extending his wall. There's no release date, I don't believe, for this game. Unless someone has seen one, I have not. But I think that's kind of cool, you know? So many games nowadays get released unfinished. They set a date and they set a deadline. Right, it needs to be ready by this. Let's cut loads of corners. Is that laying mines? The comms rig is laying mines out the front. I'm guessing they're invisible for the enemy.
Oh man, what a time to overdraw your power. Sorry, Fred.
Some of them tanks are inside of each other, and again, some of the movement. Look at it. He's kind of in the tank. But can you see what I mean about the color palette? Take note of that. It can be hard sometimes to say, oh, look, I've got a unit there. Like, if that wasn't selected, it's not standing out the most, is it? But I guess that's the theme they're going for. I think they're going to probably change that at this point. Like here, for example, like them infantry there, they're almost like part of the ground. If they weren't firing and they were just kind of chilling, they're actually like kind of part of the ground, aren't they? Maybe the colors the faction takes, I think, are they red? I mean, some of these tanks are like kind of inside each other. I don't think that's major. I mean, otherwise units would get stuck going through a narrow place or whatever. But yeah, just some of the movement seems unnatural a bit to me. So this is the Tempest Dynasty breaking through the walls here of the GDF. And now he's retreating. That sound seems a bit quiet.
Our harvester is under attack. Constructing. Our base is under attack.
Where's his cash? So he's got 10,500 something now, but he's losing cash because he's repairing that. That must be... Oh, no, wait. I was going to say anti-air turret, but it looks like actually some kind of anti-tank turret. Don't know, man. Sometimes I'm moving a little bit too fast for my liking. Like, he came down there and it just went doo-doosh, and it just like... I don't know. Movement seems a bit weird.
Unit ready. Constructing. Unit ready. Construction complete. Unit ready.
Maybe some air units we need to see.
Got it. Ready. Acknowledged.
Has he really shown... Oh, wait. Is that a trebuchet? That's a trebuchet. That's a hunter tank. Has he really shown what a satellite uplink thing did? Maybe I wasn't paying attention. The color scheme all fits as well. Like that's blue. When you select units, it's under there is blue.
Unit ready.
We have our first drone mauler hitting the field. This is a heavy infantry that is pretty useful. Has 2 drones. It can stealth while immobile, and it packs a heck of a punch.
Okay. Whoa. Yeah, you see here about the color palette. It's like the contrast is turned right down or something. I think it's just the color scheme they're heading for. I'm sure they're not oblivious to this, but even like the color of the water is not like more blue. The color of the water is actually quite similar to the ground and stuff, isn't it? Yeah.
We call this beautiful little defense the sensor array. Not only is it a stealth detector, but its weapon builds up Tempest charge on vehicles in its radius. I get a kick out of it every time I see it in action.
It's pretty cool. It's like kind of a bit like a Tesla coil, a bit like an obelisk out of past Command and Conquers, whilst also different as well. Actually, quite a lot different. I mean, it's some kind of a tower, probably more like an obelisk. But yeah, definitely different. Not sure entirely what all of these buildings are. We can see that trebuchet dealing massive damage from quite a range. Are those weapons just dropped? But they're still on a very low population. Like that's 14 out of 300. I know there's only a few units here just for a demonstration. What does it look like though when you got 50 tanks versus 50 tanks? That'd be cool to look at. So that's getting repaired. You can see the spanner on a wrench. It's dead now though. Oh, so you got artillery mode, so you can switch it to artillery mode. Okay, so they're both the same. But one was on like tank mode and one was artillery mode. That's pretty cool. Is that a flame turret? I think it is. So he's on 24,300 there.
Unit ready. Unit ready.
I don't know why all of this stuff is like got red sparks all over it. Yeah, I don't know. Is it maybe low power? Or is he using some kind of overcharge to get power? That must be the harvester. Looks a bit shiny there. The terrain, I guess that's supposed to be some kind of a swamp or something.
All right. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Look forward to more of these sometime in the future.
So yeah, we're not going to find out here, I guess, what the third faction is. We don't know, but I think it's related to the vines that you see in here. Is it going to be some kind of biological creature?
Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I won. Thank God for Brandon letting me win with his big army of porcupines there at the end. But I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you really liked this small little playthrough and got a feeling for what it feels and looks like to play as the GDF faction in Tempest Rising. There's a lot to dive into that we didn't show in this little presentation. A lot of units that we didn't show. We have the whole intel system. We have doctrines. Those elements we'll dive into a bit later. And the game itself is in beta, so if you saw some things that doesn't look quite finished, don't worry, we're working on it, but we quite like where this is heading. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this presentation, and I can't wait to show more.
So yeah, I mean that game to me looks pretty much like it could be considered finished, but I think by some company standards, by EA Games, that's a finished product, isn't it, that one? But I like the fact they haven't got a release date on it. They're saying that's in beta and whatever, yet it looks like 99.9% done. I'm sure there's loads of things behind the scenes they're still working on and stuff like that, but it looks really, really good. And I think one of the most promising RTS games, maybe it'll come out this year or next year or whatever, but one of the most promising RTS games that we've got to look forward to, regardless of when it is, the most highly detailed and most thought and work gone into it. It seems like quite a big company behind it, and that guy Brandon seems to know what he's doing. Yeah, I had a few comments there throughout. Maybe they'll watch this, maybe they won't, but you let me know your comments down below. But yeah, I'm actually quite excited to play this, even though it does have the population cap and some of the things I mentioned. But I mean, whatever game comes out, you're always going to have little questions and little things like that. But you let me know your thoughts down below. GG, well played, and I'll see you in the next one. If you'd like to support the channel whilst also protecting yourself online, consider getting NordVPN using my link in the description. It will hide your IP when playing Zero Out online, either through Avora or Game Ranger, and you won't lose any internet speed. So use my link in the description for a massive discount and a 30-day money-back guarantee.